Welcome back to Space Invaders. I'm your host, Mr. MegaManFan, and today we're looking at the Atari 5200 version, which somehow manages to be both better and worse than the Atari 2600 version at the exact same time. First problem, the aliens are opening from left to right instead of from right to left. That is worse. Now, I will give them credit for putting more aliens on the screen than the 2600 version. That's a good thing, but they still don't look right. They don't look like the actual Taito Space Invaders, and that's a bad thing. And also, these UFOs occur far too frequently. You don't get those that often in the home ports that are actually accurate to Space Invaders. They shouldn't be coming by every 10 seconds. Maybe once every minute or a minute and a half. Certainly not every few seconds while you're shooting these aliens down. Also, if you're paying attention to the way the waves move from one side of the screen to the other, it's pretty jerky. It feels like they stop and start instead of fluidly flowing across. I can't really explain it better than that, but their motion is atrocious. And it gets even worse when you notice that the alien forms change with each progressive wave. The whole reason Space Invaders was such a relentless arcade game is that it was always the same aliens stacked up from bottom to top, 5 rows, multiple columns, 55 invaders, always relentlessly coming at you, always the same. They didn't change their appearance from one board to the next. They got closer to you at the start of each board, but they didn't change their appearance. At least the 5200 version, like the 2600 version, gets that right. They start out closer to you, but the waves are still wrong, and it's even more wrong because it's going the wrong direction at the start here. And these bases, there are still only 3 shields that you can hide behind as bases, and I don't get why they're cycling through a rainbow of colors. It should be static, one color, doesn't matter what color it is, but it shouldn't be this. And oh my god, what is up with this first row of Space Invaders that are coming at me now? They look like space fish that are having a seizure. They can't decide whether to swim left or right, so they're just manically hopping back and forth between the two. It's almost like they tried to put Galaxians in the Space Invaders. They wanted some sort of aliens that would move their shape as they moved up and down the screen, but they overdid it. If they were flying toward you like Galaxians or Galaga, that would be fine, but that's not what they're doing. They're marching toward you. So having them be so animated actually makes things even more absurd instead of more visually appealing. And that's part of the problem that really sinks the 5200 version. The 2600 version may have overly simplified what Space Invaders is as you know it and would expect it to be, but at least it wasn't visually garish. The aliens weren't freaking out on the screen the way the ones are here, and they were moving in the right direction at the start, and it's so impressive that they managed to actually get Space Invaders more wrong on a more powerful system. It's as though they had their boundaries expanded, and instead of realizing they could create a more faithful arcade game within those expanded boundaries, they did the exact opposite and decided to get even wackier with it. That's not what people wanted. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe somebody actually wanted these dancing tuxedo aliens, these fish aliens with seizures that are spastically moving around. I didn't want that. If you wanted that, you can tell me in the comments, but this is yet another failure to bring Space Invaders home. What's up with those UFO values too? 10, 20, 30? I would accept 150, 300, 1500, not 10, 20, and 30. It's just, if I wasn't a fan of the core Space Invaders mechanic, I couldn't sit here and play this for you, but take my word for it, The 5200 version is no good, and I don't even know that I can really say it's better than the 2600 version. I think I would rather play that, but I would definitely rather play Avengers on Commodore 64 than either of these games.